Fact attack. How many do you know? Titanic had two other sisters, one of which also sank. People born on the 29th of February in leap years turn 18 on different days depending on which country they are from. In the UK, it's March the 1st. The US, the 28th of February. Why? God knows. The French for mother-in-law is also the French for stepmother. How sick is that? And yes, I am now wearing a beret. The mechanical stapler was invented in the 1870s, and $80 million worth of these things were sold last year in the US. Heavy stuff. HTC stands for High Tech Computer. Remember Herod, the guy who wasn't too happy that Jesus was born? His wife was called Doris. Henry VIII actually lived to a greater age than any of his wives. And yeah, mainly talking about the four who he didn't have killed. Speaking of killing people, or trying to kill people, or having henchmen kill people for you, the Evil Queen in Snow White was Disney's first film villain, and the highest ranked animated villain on the American Film Institute's list of the 50 greatest moving villains. Got that all out in one piece. In the entire periodic table, there are only two elements that are liquid at standard room temperature and pressure: bromine and mercury. According to Indiana Jones in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, X never marks a spot, although it actually does, so scratch that. It's video film in it. Searching for an objective fact. Okay. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade contains several people who are in Bond films. Alison Dooley was in A View to a Kill. John Rhys Davies was in The Living Daylights. Julian Glover was in what the hell is it called? Oh shit. It'll come to me. It really will. For Your Eyes Only. And Sean Connery was James Bond. I never rubbed off my bromine on my mercury. Which is the most popular pet in the world? Cats or dogs? Sources differ, but I think it's cats. Yay, cats. Hello, Jemima. You're on candid camera. No, wait. You've been framed. Do you have anything to say? No? Although I'd like to think that a Mr. Pritt invented these things. He didn't. And, but then that's Pritt, not Sainsbury's. In the course of history, there's only been one English Pope. He was called Nicholas Breakspere, but when he became Pope, he chose the name Adrian. Ooh, I'm really hitting into people with names here, aren't I? Doris and Adrians, any of you out there, I do love you. Another Titanic related one for you. Titanic's sister ship that didn't sink was the RMS Olympic, and the RMS Olympic was the only merchant ship, as opposed to warship, to sink a U-boat in the First World War. It was transporting troops from America to Europe. It saw a U-boat, it turned to ram, and it rammed, with quite a few deaths. War. Like Mr. Pritt, Mr. Kipling doesn't exist. What the fuck are they playing at? Monaco is a country, and people who go around saying, Monaco isn't a country, it's a principality, annoy the crap out of me. The world's best-selling detective novel, And Then There Were None, by Agatha Christie, was published in 1939, first under the title of 10 Little Niggers. In America, when they published it, they used the less offensive title. They've now made so many episodes of The Simpsons that you could watch one for each day of the year, with an extra one for each day of the weekend, and still have some to spare for that all-night Simpsons party you probably aren't going to have. Under the unusual and very complicated rules of the British royal family, the woman commonly known as Princess Diana wasn't Princess Diana. You can only be called a princess, as in use the title of princess before your own given name, if you were born to it, like Princess Anne. Those mere mortals who marry into it don't get that privilege. In fact, their full names, they use their husband's name, like legally a married woman does. So her name was actually Princess Charles, or Diana, Princess of Wales. Get that? I have two X's now. Does that mean I'm getting fat, I'm watching a very dirty movie, or I've got 2 loads of buried treasure? Which one? Indy, help me! No, serious fact. William Shakespeare died on his 52nd birthday. That must have been some party. The English language uses a lot of Greek and Latin roots. Triangle comes from the Greek. Pentagon comes from Greek. Hexagon comes from Greek. And so on. Quadrilateral comes from Latin. But shouldn't we call them tetragons? Because tetragon is what the Greek would be. So come on, call them tetragons. Rectangles are tetragons. Devon is the only English county with 2 separate coastlines. That was a short one. Humans first learned that they could drink milk of other mammals around 10,000 years ago, but the first man to actually discover it must have been pretty strange. To go along, see a cow, and start drinking its bovine juices, and I'm sorry to call it that, but that's what it is. It does taste good though. Ah, calcium. Here's a little political story for you. I'll try and make it interesting. Prior to 1999, anyone could sit in the House of Lords, that's the upper house of the UK Parliament, provided they held an hereditary peerage. An hereditary peerage is any peerage, that's Baron, Viscount, Earl, Marquess or Duke. If you held one of them, no matter if you'd been given it or you'd inherited it, you could sit in the House of Lords. Now in 1999, Tony Blair's government decided that this was quite unfair, kicked most of the hereditary lords out, because for the last 60 or so years, they've been creating these things called life peers. Life peers are made barons for their lifetime only. When they die, the peerage dies with them, their children can't inherit and can't sit in the House of Lords. You become a life peer for doing something notable, or for bribing the government, or for giving the government money, or for failing to win an election to the House of Commons. Baroness Varzi, not naming names. So nowadays, it's a bit more fair. Sorry if you're not interested in politics, but I kind of am. It's a complicated one, and if you've fallen asleep by now, do wake up, because there's one more fact. Wake up! The first UK #1 single was in late 1952. It was called Here in My Heart, and it was by a chap called Al Martino. Here in my heart. Shut up. Shut up. So we'll just stop there. Yeah. Classic, innit? There we go. 25 facts. How many do you know? Comment down below and let me know, because I'd be very interested in how you showed, and I can't rhyme anymore. And if you want, subscribe to me. I do make loads of nice videos, and like it. Please, 3 things I ask of you. Can you even spare me those 3 things? Please, please, please. I will make some more things. I haven't got any more America ones, but I promise you. Subscribe, like, comment. Bye. And I must say, for a man who doesn't exist, Mr. Kipling makes exceedingly good cakes. Don't you agree, Grace Herbert?